afternoon, everybody. My name is Elena Coppola, and I am so excited to be here with you all today to celebrate this wonderful milestone here in East Boston. As the Director of Community Relations and Government Affairs for Massport, I have had the opportunity to see the vision and the planning that went into this process firsthand, and it is truly remarkable that we are breaking ground, finally, on Piers Park 2. Today symbolizes many things. It symbolizes commitments made by prior Massport leadership, and ultimately commitments kept by current CEO Lisa Wheeland. It symbolizes the determination of neighborhood leaders, elected officials, who would not, under any circumstance, accept the status quo and really pushed Massport to be better neighbors to the surrounding community. And many of you are here today because you played an intricate role in that process for the wonderful, beautiful park that we stand in today, but also played such an intricate role in the addition that we also celebrate today. As we all know, Piers Park is an East Boston jewel, and it has become the gold standard of waterfront parks across the city of Boston. I came to this park with my family when it first opened, and throughout my childhood as a young girl growing up in East Boston. The view of our city is unmatched, and as a young girl, it just felt so big to me to be here, to play here, to use the splash pads, and now as a mom of two young daughters, I am part of the new generation of families that are using this park. And my girls, it'll feel even more massive to my girls once we open up the new edition of Piers Park 2. The past couple of years have been difficult for everybody, ups and downs, uncertainty, challenges to say the least. But through it all, our CEO, Lisa Wheeland, never wavered in her commitment to this community. She always prioritizes our community partnerships and truly values the importance of being a good neighbor. Please join me in welcoming Massport CEO, Lisa Wheeland.
Thank you, Elena, and thank you all for being determined and coming out today. We are so thankful that it's actually, the sun is shining today. Earlier this morning, we were trying to decide, do we have to cancel? Do we have to try and move it indoors? And I'm so glad, Elena, you said, no, this is the right place to do this. We're going to keep it, and look at what it has brought. So thank you all for coming out today. And, you know, today we celebrate the future. We celebrate the community of East Boston, and we celebrate promises kept. Piers Park 2 represents all of these things and so much, much more. Beginning in 2017, which for me, and probably like many of you, I can't actually remember 2017 because of the past couple of years, but back in 2017, the design and planning of the long-awaited Piers Park 2 began. A 5-year design period resulted in positive collaboration, bringing people and ideas together, developing a truly unique open space to be enjoyed by all, including future generations of East Bostonians. Before we get to our featured speakers today, I would like to recognize a few people, most of whom who are here, who helped bring many of these ideas to fruition and helped us maintain these important commitments. Former Senate President Robert Travellini, former state senators Joseph Boncoria and Anthony Petroselli. Anthony Petroselli couldn't be here, but he's here in spirit. Former state representative Carlo Basil. Former city councilor Sal LaMattina. Former Massport CEO Tom Glynn. Louise Montanino, president of the East Boston Pier PAC. The East Boston Pier PAC, past and present. Members of the Logan Impact Advisory Group. Mary Berninger, former Pier PAC president and Logan IAG committee member. Marianne Presley, Principal Presley Associates. Andre Martacchini, Team Project Manager and Engineer from Kleinfeld Associates. Former Massport employees, Jose Masso, Liz Becker, and Joe Lawless. There are a couple of other people in the audience I want to thank for being here today as well. Thank you to Councilor Aaron Murphy, as well as Alex DeFranzo from the Piers Park Sailing Center. And my final recognition goes to a group of people who really deserve a tremendous round of applause. So as the CEO, I oftentimes get the credit for how beautiful these parks are, and I heard from many of you today your appreciation and gratitude. But the reality is, it's not me, right? It is the guys who are out and about, who work tirelessly early this morning, all day long, to clear out the water, clear out the leaves, make sure this place was beautiful for this groundbreaking, and they really deserve a ton of the credit. And that goes to Chris McKenzie and our local 809 terminal operators. And these parks can't be operated and maintained without our port officers, so thank you, Chief Tian and your team who is here today, and Massport electricians who were also instrumental in making this possible. So Piers Park 2 will be a 4.5-acre complement to the existing 6.5-acre Piers Park, and also our future Piers Park 3, which will be led by the trustees of the reservations. And we're joined by trustees president and CEO John Judge. And so before the end of this decade, you can actually stand in this very spot and enjoy 15 acres of waterfront open space. It is our hope that these parks will become regional assets that bring people together to find peace and absorb the beauty of nature, and also to have some fun. And now we'll get to our program. So representing Governor Baker, our first speaker was named Secretary of the Massachusetts Department of Transportation in 2021. With a long, distinguished career in public service, Secretary Jamie Tesler has brought great experience, energy, and intellect to the Massachusetts Port Authority as a member of our board of directors. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Secretary Jamie Tesler.
Just didn't make it. Thank you, Lisa, and good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here, especially as it's turned into such a glorious Friday, unexpectedly, from where we were this morning. And I just want to emphasize quickly 3 things that you touched on, Lisa, and I want to expand on. First, for all of us, after we have lived through and we are emerging from the pandemic, it's been demonstrated to all of us how important recreation and public space is, and what it can do for our quality of life, the health and well-being of people in our cities and towns. And on behalf of the administration and with our colleagues at Massport, it's really a pleasure to be here today to see Massport following through on that commitment to the city of Boston and to the neighborhood. And I really want to thank Lisa, I want to thank the whole team here from Massport, because it has been a few tough years and there have been challenges, but the importance of these investments and what it really means to all of us, particularly when we face difficult times. It's a real testament to your leadership, to your team's leadership, and your work in collaboration with the community to listen and to take action in the midst of all the other things that we ask you to do every single day, including from the board, to see this through when there were so many other challenges you were forced to confront. So I want to thank you. I want to thank the whole team. I want to just, as you said, on behalf of the board, just mention, and John probably will cover this too, this goes back some time into November 2019. So again, right before we faced the pandemic, where we approved the preliminary design for the 4.5-acre lot we are talking about today. And it's now taken the next step with a $20 million construction project to transform this property into a recreational space that's going to be conducive to all the activities you see on the pictures here and that Lisa touched on. The last point is something you touched on already, and I really want to emphasize. it's things like this. There are so many people over a period of time, and it takes your passion, it takes your persistence to see these projects come together on a day like this. And so you touched on many of them. I'm not gonna, I'm sure I'll miss some, but again, I really do want to thank my colleagues on the board of directors. I want to thank the team at Massport. I want to thank the mayor and the city for their partnership on projects and activities like this. I want to thank our partners in the legislature, Senate and the House, for making this possible and the resources possible for all the things we do in mobility and the things we do together. I want to thank our partners in the City Council, leaders in the community, the Piers Park, local residents. And again, I really want to reinforce, because there's so many things that we work on, projects we work on, recreation, that make our lives better. And on the asset owner, on the infrastructure side, they're hard, they take time, but we will not get them done if we don't both work together, but that we are not led and responding to the activism and the desire and the advocacy of people in the community, because you do know what's best, and it's our job to deliver. And days like this are a reflection of Lisa and the team and everybody here together, really listening to what can make the community better, and really delivering on the green space that we know is going to be beautiful and is really going to continue to grow what is already a great asset here in East Boston. So it's my pleasure to be here. I guess I'm turning it back to you, Lisa. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Tesler. You've been an amazing partner, and just always that reminder that listening is so important in everything that we do. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the Mayor of Boston, Michelle Wu, a public servant who knows how to get the little things done to add up to big change. Mayor Wu is a staunch advocate for open space and our climate. Last Friday, she was actually here in Piers Park helping to lead the celebration of the 50th anniversary of the Clean Water Act. And earlier this week, she announced some exciting new ideas for Boston Common. And we're fortunate to have her here today. Please join me in welcoming Michelle Wu, our Mayor of the City of Boston.
Wonderful to see you here, and wonderful to be back for 2 beautiful, gorgeous Fridays in a row. Several of us were also started the day at the East Boston Y event breakfast this morning, so it's been an incredible celebration of community and the fruits of the seeds that have been planted by so many long before us. And so I'm incredibly grateful. I'm here to say we are going to do everything we can in our power to take the vision and the dream and the hard work that you all have already put forward in community and just make sure we get that last mile here and then keep going. You heard how many former elected officials have been involved in this project with loving cheers and boos for some of them. You heard, I love you, Sal. You know that. You know that. I think they were saying woo, not boo. Yeah. And you heard how many of our staunch, fierce community leaders have put in their time, hundreds of hours, thousands of hours, to make sure that we would get to this point, even when it felt like it was really far away. And so I'm grateful to serve every day alongside my incredible colleagues, your delegation here. There's no beating the partnership and how much they fight for your community. Senator Edwards, Rep. Madero, Councilor Coletta, Councilor Murphy, where is Councilor Murphy, who was recognized earlier, and all of our at-large councilors. Thank you for what you do for this community. Secretary, there's a lot on your plate, so really excited to see you digging in on all the issues that are near and dear. And John, thank you for representing all of us for many years on this board and weaving together the various interests so that residents always have a voice. When we plant trees, when we put money into parks, it's really not for ourselves. It's for our kids and our grandkids. And we are going to be able to soon see some beautiful trees and open space and kids and grandkids playing here. It is thanks to you all, and it's thanks to those who've come before us. So I'm really, really grateful. We have a lot more to do in the city of Boston. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Wu. We appreciate your vision for climate and for community and look forward to our continued partnership. Our next speaker needs no introduction. I have had the pleasure of working with John Nucci as a member of our board for the past 6 years. He is a tireless advocate for East Boston, a native son who always puts the needs and concerns of his neighbors at the forefront of every issue that is brought to our board. So please join me in welcoming Massport board member John Nucci.
Thank you very, very much, Lisa. And let me just say, what a day for East Boston, right? Let's hear it. Is it a great day for East Boston? It really and truly makes me proud to stand here this morning, not just as a member of the Massport Board of Directors, but as someone who has called East Boston a home for all 70 years that I've been on it. It is my home. It will always be my home. Something like this, as you've heard from the prior speakers, doesn't just happen, and we heard the elected officials noted here. We're so lucky to have who we have as elected officials, both current with Senator Edwards and Councilor Coletta and Representative Martiro, but also the prior group of elected officials that have served us. Of course, Senate President Bob Travellini, and of course, Sal Lamartina, who tells me every day how hard he worked. As I look out at the crowd, I see friends of mine who have been my friend for 60, 70 years, and I see new people who have come to East Boston. And as I look at the beautiful park around us and the beautiful park that is to be, it makes me think that it really doesn't matter whether you were born here or whether you just came here. It doesn't matter whether you've been here for 6 months, 6 weeks, 6 days, 6 years. Doesn't matter. This will benefit everybody, and more importantly, this is a product of collaboration. It's a product of people sitting at tables, getting things done. Sometimes disagreeing, no question about it, but at the end, getting it done. And that's what makes me very, very proud about this. It really does. I look at the park, and I looked at the features that are going to be in the new park, and it's things like water features, picnic areas, exercise equipment for senior citizens. Just when we were getting away from exercising, they have to do this and give us exercise equipment. And a children's area. And it says it's a children's area with a wandering path with musical instruments. And boy, I think back to the parks we had when we were kids. No wandering paths, no musical instruments, basically a plot of land with rocks and glass, and maybe somebody found 3 hubcaps that we could use for first, second, and third base. And I put "find" in quotes. Well, it really warms my heart to think that the next generation is going to have so much better. They're going to have Piers Park, and they're going to enjoy it. And as the mayor said, and let me just say that of the elected officials, I've got to say, Madam Mayor, that we are just so fortunate to have your leadership at City Hall. You get it. You get it. You get it. The attention you've paid to East Boston, whether it's resiliency, whether it's the waterfront and all the other things, that matters, and that will matter long into the future. So we're seeing an imprint being made now by Mayor Wu, and we're lucky to have it. But again, let me just close by saying that while there have been a lot of people here today, and some not here today, who worked very diligently on this, there are some who are not with us any longer. And I'd like just to take a moment to just acknowledge and name a few of them. Of course, Edith DeAngelis. Lucille Drago, so much work. Bernadette Jocelyn. And finally, somebody I know that Bobby and I practically considered him family. We were so close to him, Peter Cardinale, who's not here. So in a few minutes you'll see, and you're going to hear a couple more speeches, and in a few minutes you'll see us all take pictures, but just keep in mind, folks, those of you who lived here and worked on this, it's not about us, not about us. It's not about us who are taking the pictures, it's about you who did the work. Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Thanks, John. I can't even add more to that because you're absolutely right. It is the people around here who collaborated, came together for this beautiful design that so many people will be the beneficiaries of going forward. Thank you. Senator Lydia Edwards has worked tirelessly since first being elected to the Boston City Council and also in her current role in the Massachusetts State Senate. Her passion to improve the quality of life for her constituents here in East Boston is always front and center when we discuss projects or operations. And as an avid runner, she is also a frequent visitor to Piers Park. Please join me in giving a very warm welcome to Senator Lydia Edwards.
Good afternoon. Yes, as an avid runner, this is actually my route here. As I was training for the marathon that I ran this past year, I ran the Boston Marathon, and so much of the ability to train, to be outside, to be welcome within community had everything to do with so many of the people who came before me and who also are no longer with us. I just want to add to the incredible list of leaders, Mary Ellen Walsh, who was part of helping, any green space, any open space, any negotiation. And, while I remember talking and getting notes from her, and I think of her advocacy as an inspiration, I think about what would she do when I'm faced with an issue. And I'm sure, Massport, you have a certain level of PTSD, not PTSD, but a certain level of remembrance and love for her as well. But the point is, if you want to know how to fight for a community, if you want to know how to fight for open space and still have a relationship with the entities around them, you look to people like Mary, you look to people like former Senator President Bob Travellini. You look to Lulu. You look to Mary Berninger. You look to Karen. You look to so many people who have been able to guide me, to push me, to move me, and correct quietly and shout loudly together when we go fight for our neighborhood. So I want to thank you so much for that. This is a beautiful neighborhood, a welcoming neighborhood, and yes, many generations had not so much a park, but they had a park and fly, right? They had the park and fly, not a park. But we're fighting for parks for generations to come, but also maintaining our traditions and knowing where we came from, the amount of immigrants that came on this shore, the amount of people who became Americans here in East Boston. That is worth remembering. That's what you get to reflect on when you're sitting and looking at this beautiful, beautiful waterfront. That's what I hope to be able to do when my mother's well, and she's healing now. And thank you for the incredible medical institutions here at Dana-Farber and whatnot. My mother is going to be okay. And before she leaves, thank you. Before she leaves, I promise to take her to this park. I want her to sit and see where I run. I want her to sit and understand the neighborhood where I have a second family here. I may be alone, but I have so many family members and so many people of so many different backgrounds who've invited me to dinner, who've helped her daughter grow and become an incredible leader. That's East Boston. That's what we're celebrating. That anybody can come here and become anything. Never in my wildest dream did I think I'd have the honor to represent and serve this community. And my dream is coming true every single day. So here we are today to manifest the dream of many people who aren't here with us and to say thank you to them, but also welcome to new people. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator Edwards. We look forward to when you can bring your mother here. That would be terrific. And obviously, we continue to look forward to collaborating with you on future projects. Our next speaker, Representative Adrian Montero, was first elected to the House of Representatives in 2015, and since then he has played a major role on important issues facing not only his native East Boston, but also the entire Commonwealth. His work on codifying environmental justice policies into law will ensure that communities like East Boston will have further protections against environmental impacts. I've had the pleasure of seeing the representative and his growing family right here in Piers Park, especially on Eastie Pride Day. I actually hope that one of the leaves up there that Mateo colored in. This was a banner that we put together with children who came to Eastie Pride Day. They colored the leaves, and we made this banner, which is going to be a scrim on the fence for the construction project. So I hope Mateo's artwork is up there. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Representative Montero.
Thank you, Lisa. And listen, if his leaf isn't up there, we'll have to have a conversation later. I'm just kidding. That is really, really special. And I think it's something that folks in the community can reflect on throughout the duration of the construction, and I appreciate you all doing that nice touch. Good afternoon, everyone. Wonderful to be all together for this momentous occasion. This really is a long overdue and much awaited for moment for East Boston. Piers Park, as we all know, is a beloved gem of open space in the community, right here on the Boston waterfront with this exceptional view, the best view of the city in my estimation. It's no question that this is one of the most beautiful parks in Boston and in Massachusetts. In 1986, our community fought hard to write into state law that they wanted this open space, a park that would rival and meet the same standards of the quality of parks that we saw built in the North End and downtown Boston. Well, folks, I think we can safely say that we have surpassed that benchmark and have set a new standard here in the city. And there is no doubt that it took tremendous work to get where we are now. I want to thank the many community activists and elected officials, past and present, many of whom are with us right here. Thank you all so very much for all of the work you've done to make Phase 1, Phase 2, and soon Phase 3 possible. I also want to thank the Massport board for supporting us through this endeavor, especially to East Boston's own John Nucci, who has always been a stalwart champion for our community. Piers Park really is the living legacy of generations of community members who advocated for its creation and remained invested over the years to keep the park as beautiful as the day it was opened. And it's also a legacy of our neighbors who have worked to ensure that the park remains accessible to new generations and new residents in our community from every origin and background. I want to thank Massport for their partnership on building and maintaining Piers Park for East Boston residents to enjoy. Certainly, I'd be remiss to not give special thanks to former CEO Tom Glynn, who helped spearhead this initiative, and our thanks to Lisa Wayland for seeing this through. And I think it's important to note that Massport kept its commitment for this mitigation project despite the challenges of COVID. And for that, I think we're all incredibly grateful. The Phase 2 park we're breaking ground on today will nearly double the amount of open space at Piers Park. It will include new active space that will allow residents to use Piers Park in ways we've never been able to use it before. And will include new accessible features, including areas for seniors and play spaces for kids, to ensure that everyone in our community is able to use the new park to its full extent. We'll also finally be getting Alex DeFranzo and the Piers Park Sailing Center an actual building, which is remarkable because I think they've had that little trailer since I was a kid going to Piers Park Sailing Center. So that is very, very exciting and really is a much needed amenity for one of our community's most valuable and unique programs. And not long after Phase 2, we'll be adding to Piers Park with Phase 3. Helmed by our friends, John Judge and the trustees. So this is really an exciting crossroads for the East Boston community. Since the original Piers Park was created in the 90s, transforming a formerly dilapidated pier into a gorgeous waterfront park, the community has pushed for work to start on Phase 2. And for too long, we've seen this empty lot behind me sitting next to this incredibly gorgeous park. Dealing with delays, logistical problems, budget and economic issues, and a pandemic, it's a dream that's been pushed back for many years, but that changes starting today. Finally, we're achieving the promises we made to the community all those years ago with those elected officials that were mentioned before me who fought so hard for this dream. And for a community right on the water, barely any of our waterfront years ago was even accessible to us. It was closed off by high fences around empty, abandoned lots. And that's the memories I have. John touched on it, but I have those memories too. I may only be 33, John, but when I was a kid, East Boston parks weren't anything great either. But today, my son Mateo, who Lisa was kind enough to mention, he's 17 months old. He loves this park. We have another baby on the way who I know will love these parks as well. So this is really an incredible crossroads for our community. And really, a lot has changed to get to this place, and we are now a neighborhood that is thriving with beautiful green spaces and growing waterfront access. And I know that my children will grow up having a much different childhood than John and I had, a better childhood, one that is greener, healthier, more resilient, and frankly, more fun to be a kid here in East Boston. So I want to thank you all for the incredible work you've put in to make this a reality. Congratulations to us all in East Boston, and I'm really excited to get a shovel full of dirt and get this process going. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Modero. We look forward to working with you on a number of initiatives related to our parks. Our final speaker hit the ground running when she was elected earlier this year to the Boston City Council, working on important issues facing her constituents. She led the New England Aquarium's efforts prior to being elected to achieve a resilient, accessible, and inclusive downtown waterfront for all. Those are goals we share not only for this park, but for all of the waterfront here in East Boston. Please give a warm welcome to Councilor Gabriella Coletta.
Thank you, Lisa. Good afternoon, everybody. I am so honored to be here. Oh, let me just make sure that I have this. Can everybody hear me? Great. I'm short, but I got heels on. So I'm so honored to be here in my capacity as Boston City Councilor. I used to have my field days on this exact field when I went to the Sam Adams. And so it really is a special moment for me and a full circle moment for me to be here celebrating the groundbreaking of Piers Park Phase 2. I want to thank Massport for their continued partnership in bringing this to fruition. Everybody that came before us, thank you so much for your hard work. I will also want to say thank you to the many advocates who pushed this in the right direction so that all of us could be standing here today, the women whose shoulders that we stand on. So thank you so much for everything. My family, along with many other families, were beneficiaries of previous investments into this natural environmental treasure that is East Boston's waterfront. I've spoken at previous events about just how special these parks have been to me and my family. I used to take my grandmother here during her cancer treatments just for some serenity and peace, and it really is a special place for me and my family. And it's special to the entire community. Generations of folks have come to Piers Park, or Park Azul, to celebrate many birthdays, quinceañeras, communions, weddings, you name it. We've all seen just how beautiful park space can positively impact a community and those who reside in close proximity. Piers Park 1, and now with the groundbreaking of 2, will continue to act as anchor spaces and backdrops for some of life's most special moments. Additionally, we've seen through the pandemic just how vital open space is for the health and well-being of whole communities. Being outside, relaxing our nervous system, engaging in recreational activities like running. Lydia, I'm not at the level you are, but hopefully one day I will be running a marathon. Girl, I don't know you have time. This brings us joy, and Lord knows we need more joy in our lives. I also want to say just how excited I am that Piers Park Sailing Center, an organization breaking down barriers to waterfront access, will finally be getting that space that they deserve in a brand new facility. So I just want to give a special shout out and congratulations to Alex DeFranzo again. You deserve all the applause in the world. So just in closing, this definitely is a celebratory moment. We'll be getting new public restrooms, intergenerational uses and amenities, necessary resiliency strategies to protect our coastline, and so much more. So just congratulations to everybody, especially the future beneficiaries of this incredible park and all the families in East Boston. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Coletta. So I just want to thank all of our guest speakers for being here today. Thank you to Tom and our former elected officials. Obviously, we would not be here at this important milestone if it weren't for your work to get us going. And thank you to everyone in the community who helped collaborate. This is a huge celebration. We're so excited. And actually, I'm already looking ahead to next fall when we open the park after the construction period. So if I could ask our speakers and Tom and our former elected officials and other community members to come up and help us with the official groundbreaking.